Ashley here with another reaction video, and this is actually a very special one because, well, there are two reasons. One, I'm doing this because I had this one on my mind for a while, but I just couldn't get around to doing it. And secondly, I'm doing this because, well, my good friend Karina actually finally managed to get her old channel back. So yeah, Karina, if you're watching this, I gotta say, I'm doing this for you because you are awesome. And that I will react to some of her other videos in the future. But for now, this is basically the analysis video. It's another analysis. If you basically don't remember, I did an analysis reaction video to a much earlier one, and that was mainly talking about Father. This one, it's mainly with the L3 Homunculi. So, yeah, let us pretty much start, shall we? Also, this is going to be in the parts because I am not going to go for 2 hours. Do not want to see what happens after that.
Father put up a much better fight than Dante. So, he must be
He's actually doing a live stream or something. No, it's not live stream. There's a difference between that.
Please note this is not my opinion. And that, I'm not here to offend anybody. This is just my opinion, so... Without further ado, let's
I can't tell if that's a wig she's wearing, or is that, she dyed her hair blonde or something. Oh, yeah. Talking about, FMA Brotherhood here. The scene right here. Wow. The villain we were built up. Anticlimactic. No way. Just a sec. Alright, we're back, guys. Let's continue. And again, this fight, oddly enough, kind of gives me a better satisfaction.
Anyway, my opinion of this is that he literally did not feel like that. The entire series.
Oh yeah, talking about Father and his philosophy and his goal and all.
This God complex. This Messiah character. And then he tells us that he just wanted to be free. He just
free from all things that are flawed with humans. Okay.
He just wanted knowledge. It just felt cheap to me. It felt weak. And I don't know what it is, but at the same time, this is the part of the story that it causes me to feel a little bit bad for the guy. Because I mean, it's not something I could personally understand. It's not a situation that I've actually been through that I mean, I can understand the concept of wanting freedom, but this guy had been sealed away.
I want to break free. I want to break free.
He didn't want to go back into that flask or whatever.
I couldn't help but do that. Want to know who also gets trapped inside something?
I mean,
and he wanted to be free slightly. Well, okay, freedom.
He deserved that
envy.
Or not. I mean, with how horrible that could actually be.
Yeah, being trapped in something.
Forever in something like that. But
yeah.
Well, so yeah, the argument between Dante and Father is a lot harder to really come up with a completely valid one. It depends on the viewer. It depends on what they personally like, because I can guarantee that there are a lot of people who prefer Dante over Father, such as myself, honestly. I don't hate Father, because I think he works well for his story, but he could just as easily be a Marvel cinematic character as far as I'm concerned. Brotherhood has that...
The dog just came back in.
Happy ending that I mean, not a completely happy ending, because Greed and Hohenheim have died, and...
Also, Hughes was killed as well.
Me cry. Those two deaths made me cry.
I don't know. When I saw those deaths, they didn't really make me cry, but...
Not...
You could tell that
in front of somebody else,
pretty bad that, well, they died for reasons, and...
But,
Hi, Zoe!
I'm prideful like that. That's a better way to put it. But, yeah...
apparently my
I
dog is
think
not
that
really a fan
Dante is pretty good
about the
too.
theories or something
I think
about
that
um
Dante, in my opinion,
I can't
fits
really
her
speak.
scheme as well. Fits the story that she's going
I'm
for
sorry,
as
I'm not
well.
really good when it comes to
Dante wouldn't
these.
be good in a series like Brotherhood. Meanwhile, Father certainly
Oh,
would
the mention of Dante is causing my dog to go
be
crazy.
kind of out of place because there's a huge difference in the way the series is brought up. Brotherhood is a lot more outright with their storytelling, whereas
Yeah, Brotherhood.
03, it's a lot more subtle. You have to kind of read in between the lines a lot.
Brotherhood is
And
definitely
another
more of
difference is
a
that you don't really
story-driven
know
kind of thing with a
where
lot more action.
in 03
But
you don't really know what to feel about them sometimes.
but
Sometimes you'll have
03,
mixed
it makes
feelings
you
on them.
pretty much think,
Like,
makes you
sure
wonder.
it happens in Brotherhood, but it's a lot more
Subtle?
it's really hard for me to explain.
Yeah,
Like
03 can be kind of hard to explain at
03,
times.
it's just more subtle. It's quieter. It's
Yeah.
not like in your face. It's not
Yeah,
very
that's
much in
pretty
your
much what
face
Brotherhood
always
is.
of the time.
It's just
It's
in your
something you're
face.
kind
Not
of
all the
left up
time, but
to
there's
decide
a
how
good
you feel.
there's a good
Meanwhile,
chunks of
most of the
it.
characters in Brotherhood, they're written out for you how you should feel about the characters.
Yeah, like you're supposed to hate Envy for what he's done. In Brotherhood, that is. I mean, sure, he does
Envy, I
bad
guess,
things.
would
Sure, he
be
did some bad
an
things in
exception.
03, but I'm just saying. Speaking of
Envy
which, she also did a
in
video about why she doesn't really
Brotherhood,
hate Envy, and she does go into detail about it.
you're expected to kind of feel bad for them in the last minute. Then again, you get Mustang's point of view, and he's like how cowardice, and I don't really know
Oh yeah, talking about
what
Envy.
he felt about that. But I'm still
Uh,
pretty sure that he didn't feel too much different than what he did because
yeah.
you know. But
Mustang didn't care
Edward, then you
about
have
what
an
happened to
example of
Envy because,
Edward in
obvious.
he's forced to change his philosophy.
Oh yeah, and Ed?
That's like
Ed in '03
in
basically had to
Brotherhood
change
he was
his
so gung
philosophy
ho
because of greed.
on
Greed
not
was actually pretty
killing,
great.
but
It's just
in
it's sad that he
03
basically
that
had to go
philosophy
so
had to be
early.
changed because of greed. Greed is what changed the story, and I'm supposed to be talking
Hang
about
on a sec,
Dante
guys.
and Father right now, but this kind of
Okay.
goes into that the homunculi. Like
Zoe,
greed,
Zoe, for crying out
the
loud,
two greeds are
please.
different in that. Whereas he was actually sealed away for 130 years by Dante.
Actually, it was 120
He was
years.
sealed
That's
away
how long greed
briefly
has been
by
sealed
Father
away.
and then brought back. And see, there's a difference in concept of the homunculi, so he couldn't have been brought back in 03 because it's a different concept.
Yes.
The homunculi were born from human transmutation and such. And this ties into her character, into Dante's character. Dante
She had a little Kilala plushie. That is cute.
She saved the homunculi.
Yeah,
after
saved
they were
the homunculi of
human
03.
transmutation and in that much pain. She came to their rescue and saved them.
Honestly, it felt
She
so
is
bad
the
for these
perfect
homunculi.
representation
When they were
of a
brought
sociopath.
into the
Perfect.
world, they were in pain, and that
It's
they
also
couldn't
interesting
survive on
because
their
she's actually
own
human,
for too
completely
long
human.
without
She's
the use of
relatable in a
philosopher's
way.
stone
And
fragments. So I
like,
guess she did
I
that,
just realized I
but
was
at the same
doing
time,
that.
she's still terrible.
But yeah, like she's relatable in a sense that
In a
you
odd
can feel
way.
her animosity throughout the series. Like after she's introduced, you know there's something up with her. Like, well, not right off the hand. That was a bad way to explain. Actually, I didn't suspect a thing. I didn't suspect that she was the one behind it.
Yeah,
When
I basically watched FMA 03 for the first time, I did
did.
not expect
Because
Dante
her
to
name
be
was
the
mentioned.
main villain.
But
Heck, I didn't even recognize the
that's one
name
reason
at
why
first.
I think
At least, not for the most
that I
part.
prefer her is because she's a lot more subtle in her ways. And
Yeah,
it's very accurate for a sociopath.
it's not subtle.
And if you're wondering,
03,
no
it's a subtle type of series.
Kimberly is more of a psychopath. And
it's much darker and
psychopath is
more on the realistic term.
is kind of that way just due to genetic predispositions, and a sociopath is that way because of trauma or neglect or long time of seeing too many things or
yeah, that's pretty much what
living too
Dante
long
is.
or whatever. It can dull down your empathy, or you never had the chance to develop your empathy. Perhaps you lost it. And
Dante is
but
clearly not
Kenley's also a character I
pretty
really
much
respect
great.
in Brotherhood.
You know,
he's got a twisted philosophy, but he lives it through to the end. He never changes his philosophy. He's always the same person, even if no matter how he acts, it just feels like his character. But then Father is the contrast of that. Father
talking about Gimli, okay?
It just didn't feel like he desired knowledge throughout the entire series at all until the last 2 episodes, which made me feel bad for him in a way, but also gave me some really mixed feelings on it.
John WC, go away!
We have Dante again, who, as I said,
later on she's going to talk about the Homunculus, so
she found Sloth, who had been
I actually had seen the clip. She actually did upload the clip.
Edward and Alphonse bring back their mother, and Sloth.
Here's the ironic thing. Envy prefers to actually talk with Sloth than he does to Dante. Why? Because, well, we all know for a fact that Dante pretty much was not a great mother at all to Envy. And that
I could even
Envy
see that with Lust. Lust was extremely shocked whenever she found out what Dante's true goal was.
But yeah, Lust finding out that Dante did not plan to turn them into humans.
She found out, and she's like, "You lied to me.
You lied to us." Well, I think Envy pretty much knew or something.
That, Dante was somebody that the homunculi they had their hopes in her, at least some of them, and then you find out that Dante is actually Envy's mother. And so Dante is manipulating Envy, even though Envy knows he is being manipulated. He doesn't care, and a part of me wonders if that's because that was his mother, and he felt a certain small obligation to her. At the same time,
I guess the reason why he stuck around was because, well, she didn't leave him.
He can't stand the fact that he was created for such a terrible purpose, and in that way, he's actually similar to Sloth.
Yes. Man.
Sloth doesn't like that she was created.
It makes you feel really bad for these homunculi. And get this,
and in fact,
the people who created them were shocked and pretty much, they pretty much blame the monsters they created, when literally it's their fault that they ended up like that.
They were created to be a person. Therefore, Hohenheim brought back William.
Yes.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, that is his name.
I think that is. That's what.
That is Envy's official name.
For certain, I don't remember hearing it in the anime
his actual human name.
Yeah. Like, I just find it really neat that Dante, you don't expect a thing, and then at the same time, she has this upstanding,
honestly, I still pretty much feel bad for the homunculi.
That they look up to her at the same time. Whereas Father, he's more or less intimidating them. Well,
yes.
Wrath was subservient to both. I mean, Fuhrer Bradley, I'll put it that way, because he was Pride in one and Wrath in the other.
Just call him Bradley. It will make it less confusing.
Wrath.
That's what I call him, honestly.
I did it again.
Because, well,
Fuhrer
it made
Bradley,
it less confusing for me.
He was pretty much a follower in both. He was supportive of the goals, pretty much, for the most part.
Yeah, the
he seemed to be
homunculi in Brotherhood were actually
he
treated more
seemed
as
to
pawns than you can easily imagine.
not have a problem with following orders or whatever. Meanwhile, you have Envy, who kind of does his own thing, even in both to a certain degree, but I think he has more of his own goals
Envy wants to be
in '03.
independent in 03,
Um,
but Brotherhood, it makes you
in
feel even
'03,
more
he has
sorry
more
for him.
motivation to be that
In a
way.
way.
He wants, as I was talking about,
He'll explain
he doesn't
later.
like the fact that he was created to be William. He wants to be
Yes.
his own person. He wants Hohenheim. In fact, I think he wanted Hohenheim to recognize him for who he was, but since he
Yeah.
abandoned him, there's no hope for reconciliation between them, which is very sad in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
poor
like I'm a
Envy.
person
I mean,
who
seriously, that's
wants
all I
to
gotta say is
semi,
just poor Envy.
at least in the end, I want two characters, even if they have to die, I want two characters to be able to kind of make up. And that's one reason why I'm so mad
Oh yeah,
that
talk about
that
Conquer
one
Shambhala.
scene was changed where Hohenheim not only acknowledges Envy as his son, but he also acknowledges that he never
But he's
gave
mainly,
him the affection that he should have.
yeah.
He never acknowledged him like he should have, and he acknowledges that.
Hohenheim is a
He's
lot
like,
terrible
Envy
in
here is my
03.
son too.
Sure, he tries to
So if it's
be
what he
good,
wants, then I want to be
but at the
killed
same
by
time,
him.
you can actually
That would have made
tell
it
he's done
so
terrible things, and
touching, but
also pretty much
instead
did
they
not
changed to where he's
pretty
like, I
much
created a
gave the
monster.
affection Envy
You
pretty
don't
much
say
had
that.
wanted.
That's one reason why. That's one of the many reasons why Conquerors of Shambhala angered me. Aside from Izumi's death scene being left
Yes.
out, which was very
Yeah, there
emotional
were
because
scenes
it was also
in Conquer Shambhala that
relevant
should
to
have been added in, but they didn't.
Wrath's development.
They just pretty much did not care about the homunculi
Reminds me,
whatsoever in
I
Conquer
felt so
Shambhala.
bad for
Rather just
Wrath.
focus
Like
on the
Wrath,
two worlds slightly, but instead we're just
after
focusing
that
on the
trauma,
obvious world.
being in the gate. I mean, a lot of people complain how they don't like Wrath,
Aww.
how he's not that interesting or anything because he's just a child.
Aww.
That's right, he's just a child.
Of course.
He's got the emotional capacity of a child. It's not his fault.
Yes, I mean,
And
poor Wrath. I mean,
that tied
seriously,
in with
I felt
Izumi's
really
development.
sorry
If
for
it weren't
Wrath
for
in
Wrath,
03.
Izumi,
I mean, he's basically the type of character you just feel pretty bad about, and that
wouldn't have
you
been as
just can't
interesting
help but want to
either.
give him a hug.
And
And hang on a sec, guys.
Izumi's development was amazing in the '03 series. But back to Homunculi. As I was saying about Envy and Sloth, I keep on getting sidetracked here. Envy and Sloth.
Okay, no longer talking about the main villains. Now talking about the homunculi of 03.
They're very much alike. Unlike Lust, who wanted to retain her humanity, Sloth, in a certain sense, wanted to reject it.
Again, at first I didn't really care about Sloth back then, but now that I basically had rewatched 03 again a few times, it gave me a better appreciation for Sloth, and that I felt really sorry for her.
Would be to kill the Elric brothers, which is also pretty much the same as Envy as well. I think that she could relate to Envy on that, because Envy wanted to kill Hohenheim because of him abandoning her. But of course there's a slight difference there. He was mad because Hohenheim didn't acknowledge him. Hohenheim abandoned him without a single display of affection. In fact, that's what he said in the original script that I was talking about Hohenheim says about Envy, he says, Envy here is my son too. Without a single display of affection, I abandoned him. And that was very touching, and I'm mad they didn't. But of course,
Yeah,
they
I
say,
mean,
"Oh, it would have
it
been
would
awkward
have
because he
gave
was being
Hohenheim a little
he was
redeeming
inside of
factor to him,
he was inside of Envy's mouth and was about to be killed." But
in that it
that would
would
have
have
been
actually
so
settled a
emotional.
little bit between him and
Regardless,
Envy.
I wonder if it could have even caught Envy off guard. But I don't think they didn't do what they could have with the homunculi in Conquerors of Shambhala, which is where it's part of where its adaptation failed at.
Yes, fall flat on its face.
So, like I said,
Seriously, Conqueror Shambhala, the scene where they could have
Sloth
added,
was a character, and
gave
I mean,
a little bit
at
of
first I
a
didn't really
scene for
think
Envy and
her sin,
Hohenheim. I
quote
mean,
unquote sin, fit
it would
her.
have actually
But
dealt
if you
with it. But
think
no,
about it,
Hohenheim pretty much only acknowledged Ed as his
is a
son,
better representation
and that he was
of
trying to help him get
escapism.
home.
I mean, if
Not even
Sloth
caring about Envy.
then wanting to escape
Or
from
pretty much
something.
acknowledge him for
I
what he
think
used to be. All he says, oh, he used to be my son, and I turned him into a
it
monster.
makes sense whenever you really think
Thanks,
about it.
Hohenheim. That will make us like you even more.
Sloth wants to reject that. She doesn't want to deal with that. She wants to
What
avoid the attachment that she had to the Ulrich brothers. She doesn't want to face it. She doesn't want to acknowledge it. In fact, she just wants to completely take it out of her memories. She wants to move on from those memories or avoid them. And I think that's a decent representation of Sloth whenever you think about it. I know 03 wasn't completely getting at the sins.
But here's the thing, oddly enough, 03 actually had more religious feels to it, while Brotherhood, slightly. The only religions we got is basically the Scar talking about his god Ishval, and the homunculi actually living up to what they are. But, just saying, there's not really much of that.
She's the opposite.
Oh yeah, and the truth. Let's not forget about the truth.
I mean, it's wrath. She's the opposite of what is it?
Talking about Sloth here? Okay.
Of Envy and Sloth in that way. She wants to retain her memories and stuff. She wants to remember where she came from, and she desires to understand things more. Envy kind of just accepts it as is, and
it's obvious that Envy does worry about his fellow homunculi in a way.
Relationship is something that I would have loved.
He doesn't want anything to happen to them because, well, think about it. There's more like him, and that you know what? If I basically
had a somewhat close relationship,
you don't have a family that doesn't care about me, then I'll pretty much try to make that happen, or something like that.
I think something's up there.
Is that a fly you honestly have in your room or something? Because I get them at times. Thankfully it's October.
I think that it was hints at points that they did have a closer relationship. Gluttony too.
Yeah.
I think Lust was kind of like a motherly figure to some of them. Sloth was definitely a motherly figure in the 03 anime. But if we're talking about canonly, I think at points Lust was kind of a
Lust, Envy, and Gluttony. Yeah,
Lust was kind of like the mother figure, and at the same time,
and
he was kind of like a wild,
sister figure,
older brother figure. And like I noticed that whenever, of course, Gluttony reacts different in both series. Whenever dang it, what's his name?
Mustang?
Yeah, whenever Lust dies, Gluttony in 1 and the 03 series, he's like really sad and depressed.
Yeah, I felt pretty bad for him.
So bad for him in that scene. Even though he's a cannibalistic, childlike
homunculus
guy who lives true to his sin, you can't help but feel bad for him in a way because he's just a child at nature. It's like I have so many mixed feelings on Gluttony.
Yeah, he just he doesn't know any better.
I want to dislike him because he's kind of disturbing, but at the same time, I have somehow the ability to feel bad for him, and somehow I'm able to like him as a kind of. But then I noticed in '09 he reacts different. He
Yeah, he acts much
really
more
angry,
insane.
basically loses control, goes insane. At
Swallow!
the same time, it makes sense for that too.
Also, the fact
And,
he does listen to Envy. Here's the odd thing.
then,
In Brotherhood, Envy and Lust can actually calm Gluttony down.
Nobody was doing anything about Lust. Lust's death. He's like, we're being made fools of because of this. And not only that, somebody I follow on YouTube, which okay, so it's Ashley W. She had said something that because of that, it caused Envy to have a lot of the work.
Yeah, I pretty much said a comment about that.
That Lust had shirked on
Envy
her,
was really upset
that
Lust
really
died
frustrated.
in Brotherhood.
I'm imagining
and of course
kind of
that
the same in either series.
That pretty much gave Envy a lot more work to do.
I'm just upset we didn't really get more with them. I mean, like,
she actually does a video on Lust and Envy later.
I like the 03 series because I don't know what it is about me personally, but I focus more on the villains. A lot of times I focus on these somewhat dislikable characters, and I like them to have a moral depth to them, that they're not necessarily, they're probably not good, but they're not 100% evil.
As Lust would say, it's not really black and white, as you may see.
You're kind of uncertain where to feel about them, and that's something
honestly
that I like whenever
I watched 03 because of the Homunculi. I wanted to see what they were really like. And oh boy, I really saw that they did not disappoint. The only disappointment is that I wish we had gotten more of them.
Lust from 03. Lust is a really good example.
Yes, Lust had a lot of character development.
Perhaps Bakugo from My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia.
Oh, talking about a different anime and what they would, which characters would have a similarity slightly.
You got to admit he's developing some.
Yes.
I ain't gonna go into that. So like, yeah. I should probably talk a little bit more.
That's a lot of cutting, I have to admit.
And, my opinions about him in both series. I think I mentioned it earlier. I've tried to record this video twice, so this is the second time. I may have not.
Wow, I can understand that. I've had multiple times where I easily have to try to get the right recording, but there's some kind of distraction or interruptions that I literally have to edit that out.
Edward's entire philosophy.
Anyways, talk about his philosophy.
Edward was a character that he was extremely determined not to kill people in Brotherhood.
Ed's filled with determination. He goes the mercy route. I find
it admirable, but at the same time, I don't relate with it. Like, if it was some situation that was serious enough,
he has no choice. But
and your life was in danger, you might kill somebody. And
yes,
depending on the circumstances, sometimes we don't regret it. I've never killed anybody. That probably sounded awful of me to say.
It's okay, Karina. It's okay.
Like,
I understand what you're trying to say.
I'm just saying here that sometimes I understand Edward's determination not to kill to a certain degree, but on a certain level,
Ed is filled with determination.
Because I don't see any human, most humans at least, I don't know about all, but most humans.
03 is pretty dark, and
are not the greatest person. While they may end up feeling regret for it, like Edward did, he definitely felt terrible remorse whenever he realized he had killed Greed. But
yeah.
Like,
plus, I think Greed only did this just to get a paycheck.
Put under the right circumstances.
No, seriously, I actually did the reaction to 03, the dubbed. Sometime around, I might actually get to the sub version if it's not taken down.
Scene where And I mean, even if they just left it at this without him having killed anybody, it still would have been great. Because it really put his morals to the test even before he had committed a murder by accident. But before he had killed somebody, before he killed
Don't worry,
Grace
she does
or
actually
anybody
switch
else,
the background
that was something
to
that
one of the homunculi.
was pretty
Actually, she
interesting
does it
to
a few
see.
times.
How whenever Alphonse's life, I think that
Oh, yeah,
Edward
talk
and
about.
Alphonse,
Oh.
they were closer to each other in the '03
I find it
series
ironic the
than
fact that the brothers spend more time in '03 than they
they were
do
more
in
closed off for the
Brotherhood.
world and relied on each other more than others
Yeah.
in '03 than
Yeah, ironic the fact that it's called
Brotherhood,
yet the brothers aren't really
tended to
spending
rely
a lot
on
of time
others
together.
more, but in '03 you can see really just how shut off from other people they are.
Yeah.
And so whenever
It makes you feel pretty
Alphonse's life is
bad for
put in
them.
danger, being the person Edward can't lose more than anybody else. Not again. Not after he's already lost so much and seen so much.
Ed does not pretty much want to lose Alphonse because he's the only family he has left in for blood, isn't
mass human transmutation
I'm not sure
to
what that was.
bring back.
They tried to bring back their mother, but the end result.
I'm not thinking.
Yes.
I've been up all night. Ugh. But
I don't blame you for being up all night.
He actually considers mass human transmutation to save Alphonse's life.
He had no choice.
Because that's what the homunculi were demanding. And I found that an interesting touch to the series. But, yeah.
Yeah, but Brotherhood.
Talking about Father and Dante, and I got carried away.
I don't blame you. I sometimes go off topic as well. Want to know exactly what I slightly like to compare this a little bit?
I'm not good at thinking.
The egg bosses from Sonic Archie.
Kind of at the same time.
Sure, they basically are working for Eggman and they have cybernetics, but there are some things about them that
I should mention
you kind of pretty much get. Oh yeah, talking about Raph.
I kind of mentioned, but didn't really go into much detail.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the poor kid. I just want to hug him.
In '03.
He's just so adorable, and you just feel really bad for him.
I mean, you're Bradley.
Bradley is basically Wrath in Brotherhood.
Wrath was Wrath in '03.
And of course he was also Pride in the first anime.
Why do
so
I keep doing that? I'm so
tired. Seriously. Again, if you basically are having trouble, just call him Bradley. It's a lot easier that way. Anyways, about the egg bosses. For example, a definitely good example for a character that just joined the Eggman Empire because they were in desperate need of help or something. We're definitely Clove and Cassia. Oh man, I feel really sorry for them. And if you know the story about them slightly, you feel really bad for them. That Clove had no choice, and if she were to leave, her sister would probably die. So yeah, there's no way. And also, Eggman pretty much making a game out of it. Seriously, that's low, man. I don't even think that Envy or Shell Tucker would definitely go that low.
And
okay, I'm gonna say this. It's disturbing, but it needs to be said. I believe that if Shell Tucker had managed to pretty much get his hands on Cassia, he would transmute her into a chimera. It would actually kind of take away the disease or illness that she has, but she would be fused with another animal. Let's just hope it doesn't go Undertale, otherwise we would have an amalgamate.
The scene where he's talking to Alphonse and talking about the woman, about his mother who protected him, saying that was something that not all humans are selfish, admitting that.
Okay, I'll talk about more of this.
Lives true to his sin. He is too prideful to accept people's help, but that woman was an exception, and wrath from Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, talking about Brotherhood. Again, I just hate Pride in that anime. Ugh.
It's much like Fear Bradley. I'm getting the two Wraths mixed up. I told you I'm half asleep. I can't do this.
I can't blame you.
So I need to stop mentioning that. I'm going to continue.
You could just refer to Brotherhood's Wrath as Bradley, like because that's what I call him. While in 03, you can refer to him as Wrath. It's fine. It's actually okay. Simple.
That not only her child, not only her husband, but her child as well, are both homunculi.
Yeah, Miss Bradley.
Homunculus. Like, they both felt that attachment, and it was kind of touching that at the end, Wrath tells Lanfan that that was the one thing he did choose in his life, was being with that woman. And it was kind of touching whenever you really think about it. That was something, that was a humanization that I did really like in Brotherhood. That was one of them. Then you also had Greed, who was rather enjoyable too. Wrath was a character you don't, meanwhile, like I was saying about Greed, but Wrath was a character you didn't really know what to feel about him. I had mixed feelings about him. He was still pretty bad. I got mad at him whenever he killed Marta.
Yes, but, it's actually pronounced Martel, I believe.
Because that was
the snake chimera.
Especially in 03, after all the development that woman has had, like, we didn't get as much of it. We didn't get a lot. Some of the development, they did a lot better in the 03 series. But at the same time,
yeah, in 03, you actually spend time with the characters. And you actually start to get the feels and all that, and the thinking.
That came in,
but Brotherhood,
enjoyable to see.
Whoop! One episode, they're dead.
Oddly enough, I'm saying this.
Thanks, anime.
I started watching FMA like years ago.
Oh.
And I wasn't really too much into it back
then. Oh yeah, here's the thing. When I saw 03, this was back then. I was a kid.
Brotherhood is so much
I kind of saw slightly of it, but I was like, this looks pretty stupid. I'm gonna watch something else.
Completely taking them
out. Ironically enough, I actually watched Inuyasha. I'm not kidding. I watched Inuyasha, but not FMA.
And so I decided to give Brotherhood a go. I finished Brotherhood.
Anyways, of course, years later, a friend of mine on DeviantArt, and this was actually my friend Shed, and she basically introduced me to the FMA because of Envy and Wrath from 03. And it worked my way up there.
The 03 series, I like Brotherhood, but I loved 03 because the soundtracks were amazing. Soundtracks really, like Kyodai especially, even more than the original Brothers OST Kyodai, which is more the instrumental version. That is so sad. It's so nostalgic at the same time. It has this feel.
It just has the feels. It just has the right amount of feels.
The Ulrich brothers in 03. I literally cry. I still get emotional every time I see that. And so it's like really good. And then you have other ones too. Like the one that is going on while they're where Marco is reflecting on, I think it is reflecting on whenever Roy had been ordered to kill those doctors, the Rockvilles. It was that music that happens, it just has a nostalgic but sad feel to it. Like, it's way more nostalgic in a sense than the other one. It really has that ring of nostalgia.
Well, basically you have Brotherhood that has action-packed and kind of upbeat music, and
like Trisha's Lullaby.
It's not exactly my favorite, honestly.
That really good.
I'm not really a fan of most of the songs in it.
Other OSTs of Brotherhood,
but as But
none of them,
03,
in
it
my
just
opinion,
really,
again, this is
really
just my
knew
opinion,
what
so don't feel
kind of
offended.
music to put in, what
A lot
music
of
was
them
favored,
just didn't
but
measure up
it,
to
oddly
the
enough, it never got
03's.
annoying because I felt that it is
Most
fitting.
of the O3's
Because,
OSTs.
come on,
Because
Brotherhood, they
I
use
just
that
felt
music to
so
describe
much
the
emotion
homunculi being
behind the O3
dangerous.
series OSTs.
Just, ugh.
Brotherhoods did still had some amazing
I
composers,
guess maybe
but
when Envy
honestly,
showed
times
up,
it was a
it
lot of
didn't
work
really
that was
seem to
put
be
behind it.
that big of an issue because,
And
well, it's fitting for him.
I
But
just
other
still prefer
homunculi?
the
Oh great, they're
O3's
reusing the same music
OSTs.
again.
But
Ugh.
I mean, there were still some really good Brotherhood ones. But Brothers, the OST, Brothers, and Kyodai are irreplaceable in my opinion. Just, they're not able to be replaced. They make me
Oh,
feel emotional every single time I hear them.
just, I'll see you guys in part 2.